Today, I'm doing something a little different. I'm actually going to go through my comment section, and maybe if I get bored, someone else's comment section, and I'm going to show you the comments about Clemson football. Now, some of it is going to be completely obvious. You're going to be like, whoa, that's a duh statement. And then you are going to see some really interesting ones that will let you know why I just don't think we're going to see any changes in Clemson, South Carolina. First, welcome to the channel. Glad you're hanging out with me here on a beautiful, beautiful Friday morning. Okay, if you're in the upstate of South Carolina, it's cloudy. It's rained a little bit. But it's oddly warm. It's really bizarre. But anyway, I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. Pass along to all your friends. I do appreciate it. The channel is growing, and I appreciate everyone who has subscribed and joined the channel. Also, you can join if you would like. The button is below this video, and I made it affordable. Also, check out my other channel, Another College Football Podcast, where I talk about college football as a whole. I previewed Oklahoma and Missouri yesterday. This morning, I previewed Tennessee at Florida. That's a really sketchy game. I'm just telling you, that's a sketchy game. When Florida's bad, it doesn't matter. They'll still beat Tennessee. Tennessee, they're 7-3, 3-3 in the conference. Everyone wants to say that Tennessee should win this ball game, but I think they're a little off kilter in Knoxville right now, and they have to go to Florida. So, anyway. Go check out that channel. All right, let's dive into this. Without further ado, whatever the crap that means, I am going to share my screen to my YouTube studio. Now, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you need to understand that we have what's called a YouTube studio. That's where the comments lives and so on. There's also a special section of comments that are held by YouTube because they are actually so bad. I rarely look at that because most of it is just pure nonsense. I guess that would be one of the most entertaining things to do. But I am going to share my screen, and you're going to be able to see what I see. Now, I will tell you this: I really do appreciate all the comments from most people. But I'm not the best at responding to all of them, and I don't know. But here we go. I'm going to shut up and share. All right, so hopefully you can see this. I'm going to see if I can make this full screen here. It's not going full screen, but oh God, that's even worse. All right, so I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to read some of the comments. So this is a response from Nicholas Powell to Ryan Day to Clemson. Now, if some of you did not watch the video and you just responded like a lot of people did, Ryan Day to Clemson, and by the way, it's obvious. And when you go through these comments, you're going to see this. Anyway, it's obvious who did not watch the video and just started responding. So Nicholas Powell, I actually challenged my viewers. I said, listen, you need to go look at my comment section, and you need to see how many people actually commented without watching the video. It's entertaining. Nicholas Powell did. Goodwin watched the video. That was entertaining. The Ohio State fans would lose their mind if this would happen. I welcome that. It ain't going to happen, but it is funny if it does. So, it would be funny. The whole premise behind Ryan Day to Clemson is not replacing Dabo, everyone. So if you're already typing, you can stop because I'm not talking about replacing Dabo. Mr. Popples, not your best effort. Maybe you could take the rest of the season off. Yesterday, I predicted the Furman game. I just said, here's your prediction. Clemson wins. It's Furman. So I don't know if Mr. Popples is happy with me, not happy with me. Truth RN, not in 220,000 years. I think my sources may be better than yours. You're wrong a lot. Are you an IPTAY member? If so, how are you so wrong all the time? I think Truth RN did not watch the video. It was just a lighthearted take on Ryan Day. So I think I think we just found out exactly who watches the videos and who does not watch the videos. Let me see. Go back to here. Trenton Benton. This is hilarious. That's exactly. I mean, it's just a good talking point right now. And first, Clemson fans, let me tell you this: I had Eric Boggs on. He was the one who was talking about it. He's a big Ohio State fan. And let me go ahead and go out on a limb and tell you right now, there's really nothing to talk about in Clemson, South Carolina. So if you don't want to hear me moan and groan about what's wrong with Clemson football, we're going to have to find something nice to talk about. So I brought on someone to just talk about college football as a whole, and then we got into a particular area where I talked to him about Clemson football. We were actually talking about college football as a whole. And so, I'm trying to keep it as lighthearted as I possibly can. I already told some of you I am sick and tired of talking about the coaching changes that needs to be made on Clemson's coaching staff. And by the way, that's not going away. And here's your prediction. If Clemson does not make the changes at the position coaches level across the board at wholesale, and they don't bring it, and on top of that, they don't bring in qualified people to fill those areas, you're just going to have more of the same. You're going to have more of the same. So I'm trying to keep it lighthearted. I'm trying to not have to harp on the same thing over and over. I'm trying not to have to tell you over and over and over, hey, listen, you remember that flat tire on the car? Yeah. I know you've turned the radio up really, really loud, and you're looking at pictures when you first bought the car, but the tire's still flat. You're going to have to change it. What? Yeah. Listen, you can turn up Queen as much as you want to, but it's not Fat Bottom Girls is not going to drown this out, y'all. Just trying to be positive here. Just trying to have one of those moments. Get back to the comment section. Bo Weevil says, go Tigers. Good to see you, Bo Weevil. Kenneth Gallman said the Citadel rushed for 288 on us last year. That's 100% correct. That is 100% correct. This is video if Saban coached Clemson yet again. This is another one that a lot of people looked at the thumbnail, they looked at the title, and they started typing. They never listened to it. So what I did was I took Coach Saban and I contrasted him with a lot of the coaches that we see and witness in the game. Now, here's the very interesting thing about Coach Saban is that love him or hate him, he was always focused. Love him or hate him, he always had discipline. Love him or hate him, he was not focused on the success of the past. He realized he wanted to have success right now. And I've talked about that a lot. That was the difference between Nick Saban. And you're right. A genius is nothing more than focused on a subject. You're 100% right. This guy was not swayed by this, that, or the other. Nick Saban, point blank, was focused on the goal at hand. That was it. And so when you look at Coach Saban, you look at what he did through the years, you look at his success, you will see a consistent, you'll see a consistency that he was always focused. And he appreciated the success of years before, but he wanted success right now, and that was the head man. I agree with that 100%. Let's get down here. Stone Cold Cowboy. You hope they're going to beat Furman, but the way we are playing this year, nothing is a sure thing. You know what, Stone Cold Cowboy? You're actually right. Clemson's a 41.5 point favorite going into this ball game. By the way, just want to let you know, the early spread was actually released yesterday by the I totally went blank because I was switching screens. I'm sorry, y'all. For the South Carolina game, Clemson's already a 2.5 point favorite. Now, of course, that can change. A lot's going to change between now and then. But Clemson's actually right now the favorite in the South Carolina-Clemson rivalry game. Do you realize that except for the Louisville game, Clemson has been favored in every game this year? every game. So, excuse me, I'm choked up. Transparently, I left my drink over here. In fact, I'll tell you this is my channel. I guess I can do what I want. Do I have to ask permission? I'm actually just going to walk over here and get it. I'm going to leave this up here. You can read some of the comments yourself. About to choke to death over here. For some of you, that would actually fix a lot of your problems. Why fix Clemson when we could just have the guy die who is who's always complaining? That's right. Don't fix the problem. Just get rid of the guy who's pointing it out and offering solutions. Anyway. Gary Saylor says, this is a stupid, useless channel. Clickbait crap. I'm going to give that, gave him a thumbs up. It's funny. All right. Mark Rick sent his son to Clemson when he coached at Georgia. This is true. I think he ended up at Mars Hill. Interesting fact. I refereed for, I don't know how many sons he has. He may only have one son, but I refereed for his son in basketball. I think he was playing for Prince Avenue. Prince Avenue came up to Tallulah Falls. It's a private school in Northeast Georgia. It's very nice, by the way. And I refereed for him. Looked like his dad. Looked a lot like his dad. A Tiger Forever said, put my chips into the pot with you. Clemson can be 0-11, beat the Coots. We won the Natty. I won't go that far, but I'm telling you right now, Clemson, if Clemson loses to South Carolina next week, that will be 3 losses to South Carolina in the past 4 years. Mike says he hates Clemson. We'll see. Justin Parrott's begging God for Clemson to rehire Brent Venables. I'll tell you this, Brent Venables, he is 2 games away from the college football playoff. Brent Venables is playing the transfer portal game at Oklahoma. He is pushing to win. He went to the transfer portal and got John Mateer. Brent Venables is responsible for a lot of success at Clemson. And last year was not looking good at Oklahoma. We all know he was on the hot seat coming in. Now, if Oklahoma fans start to play that game, just like Ohio State fans played the game after Ohio State won the national championship, that, we were never wanting to fire Ryan Day. That's a lie. When he lost to Michigan last year, there was a bunch of people. I mean, good grief. Eric Box said that Ryan Day, his wife started packing their house up because they knew that there was a really good chance he was going to get fired. You know? So it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting to see how this all kind of turned out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, that stuff happens all the time. And Brent Venables, he was on the hot seat. Right now, if he wins out, he plays Missouri. You should go check out another college football podcast where I previewed that game. You need to go check it out. Okay? Excuse me. And what you're going to see is that Missouri can definitely beat them, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Oklahoma's locked and loaded. Missouri's quarterback, I think he's been updated to questionable, but I just don't think that guy's going to be playing. I don't think it would be good for him to play against Oklahoma. Oklahoma has, shockingly, one of the best defenses in the United States of America. Do you realize, I read a stat yesterday about Oklahoma, that the opposing running backs for all season, and this was out of a Missouri publication writing about their matchup with Oklahoma, that their running backs has not gained 1 yard before they were hit, meaning that Oklahoma has been making contact with them in the backfield on almost like every handoff. And in the article, it said, yeah, you read that right. That's how dominant this defense has been. I don't think we're shocked. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked. The big thing with Venables was to get his offense right. I believe if John Mateer was healthy when he played Texas, they beat Texas. Well, they didn't. Game is over. Yeah, and Texas is falling apart. They just got emasculated in Athens, Georgia this past week. Texas is over. They're done for this season. Brent Venables plays Missouri this week. He plays LSU next week. He has a really good chance to run the table. I say run the table. He wins the next 2 ball games. He's in the college football playoff. So a lot of people would love for Brent Venables to be coming back. Brent would have to absolutely ruin everything before he comes back. Good to see you, Justin Parrott. Don't blame you. I wished he'd come back too. Mike Gillespie says Dabo needs to be sending flowers to his grandma in the nursing home and picking their kids up from school and everything. I get where you're going there. I don't want Dabo fired, but I'll tell you this: there's a lot of people. There's a lot more people who's totally fine with what's going on, and then there's people who, like you, Mike, are just getting fed up with it. Stephen P. says Furman 14, Clemson 6. Charger on 3115 says, instead, why wouldn't he just give his son a scholarship to Ohio State? Good thought. Dallas Shipley, he's not going anywhere. He will stay at Ohio State. Let me see. Ryan Day to Ball State. Of course. That's right. Let me get into the live comment section right here. Get into the live comment section in here. Brantley Major says this. It's incredible. It's actually incredible how many people decide to be your enemy before even hearing you out, hearing what you have to say. It's a sad world we live in. Hate is the new norm. Well, I agree with a lot of what you say right there. Hate, I don't go as far as say hate. Maybe that's an overused term. I've even said it before and went, that's really not hate. You're 100% right, Brantley. You need to understand a couple of things. A, people do not like people who challenges the overall norm. Also, people absolutely despise those who bring logic, who will bring logic to an emotionally charged subject, right? And here's what's so sad about that is while everyone is trying to figure out how to approach everyone, and I believe we need to say things in the right way. I'm not someone who says, you just go in there. I used to know someone who, I just tell it like it is. That's why I'm different than you. And it's like, bro, I've seen you go in and burn down so many situations when you actually had a really good point and you just came in being a jerk, And do I agree, folks, that most people are way too sensitive? Sure. I agree with that 100%. If you know me, that's one of those things. Most people who even say, I tell it like it is, they can't be told the way it is. Why? Because they're a hypocrite. That's why. I don't even like to be told that I'm wrong. That's one thing about it. But with that said, when you bring logic to an emotionally charged situation, and being a fan is emotionally charged, I mean, it's like an alien showing up speaking some type of galactical language. People don't like it. That's why people don't like me pointing out that Clemson can go to the transfer portal all they want to. But until they fix the coaching issues at each and every position on the team, save Matt Luke and Tom Allen, until they do that, and not just make changes. I always like to jokingly say this: I can make a change. I could change my hairstyle. Well, how do I change my hairstyle? Well, I start drying it with a blowtorch. Well, that's dumb. And a lot of you are like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, I agree with you. That's dumb. But, if Coach Sweeney went out and changed his entire coaching staff, but he brought in guys like the ones he just replaced, that's not a fix. But when you point that out to most fans, because they're emotionally charged, they don't want to hear you, pal. Then, on the other hand, you can put up a thumbnail instead of clicking on it and saying, hey, what is this guy talking about? What do? They just get all crappy and say a bunch of stupid stuff, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. Impact says YouTube Studio could use a remake. Yeah. I made this real quick, and then I want to get back to the comments section. Will, man, we do go over the top sometimes. Yeah. Roger Parks, good morning. Thanks for supporting the channel, Roger Parks. Good to see you in here. KD, I don't think we see any changes outside of Garrett Riley and 3 defensive coaches. I think 3 defensive coaches would be a major change too. Dabo ain't going to have a bit. The GOAT is live again. Oh, come on. Harriet, good to see you, my man. Morning, Brian. YouTube Studio could use a maker. Yeah. What you hearing about Arkansas? If it deals with Dabo, I think Dabo's staying put. I don't think Dabo's going to be moving anywhere. I thought it was a great video of a fun and lighthearted conspiracy that your friend brought up. Yeah, I mean, we're just talking. We're just chilling out. We're just having some fun here. I think there's some people I think that I'm really, really concerned about, how serious some people actually took that. It was meant to be, lighthearted, and yeah, it was. We were just chatting, and some people took it extremely serious and then got really offended over it. Thoughts on the extremely delusional Clemson fans? I've been an IPTAY member for years, and this program is failing. I don't know how people defend this trash. My friend, they do it all the time. Read my comment section. I'll tell you this, go read some of these comment sections on Instagram for Clemson football, whether it's Clemson football or maybe it's a Clemson football page. Oh man, these will be the same people in 5 years if the changes are not made in a good way. I'm not talking firing Dabo. I always have to say that. But if changes are not made in 5 years, these will be the same people who will look back and go, how do we continue to lose 4 and 5 ball games every year, man? I think something's wrong now. They're 10 years behind. Why? Because they don't look at trends. They don't pay attention. And they've also, some of them has been, I don't know what it is, but some of them they have been duped into believing that if you're not a good fan, if you point out that, as I like to say, the tire is flat on the car. Get to a couple of more comments here. Hey, I'm tired of beating a dead horse about coaches also. Yeah. And here's the thing, KD. It's not that we should stop, but it's like that's where the buck stops with this team. It's not NIL. It's not transfer portal. It's actually more affordable to hire better coaches than to have to go find someone in the transfer portal every year and pay them $1 million. And pay this guy $1 million and pay that guy $500,000 and pay this guy $750,000. These are all players. You would actually be better off to find really, really good coaches who can develop across the board. We can talk about Clemson basketball. I think I love Dabo, but you're not getting 11.75 to develop CEOs. You get paid to win, but I will never say I want him fired. I get it. Yep, it gets old. Dabo's fix is to flatten the other 3 tires. Brian, what are your thoughts on Tom Allen? You think Dabo's going to replace him? No, I don't think so. Tom Allen's not the problem. If you bring in a coach, and I'm saying this about Matt Luke too, you bring in a coach who over the years at their position, at their forte. And what I'm talking about there is I'm what they're good at. Matt Luke is known as an offensive line guru genius. You bring him in, and one of the few times he has a bad result is when he's at your school. It's not him, it's your school. It's the current state of your program. And I say that about Allen, and I say that about Matt Luke. And I know someone out there is going to bring up, well, Matt Luke did terrible at Ole Miss. He was a head coach there, and he took over a mess. So that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about offensive line. For some of you, I know you probably hear me sometimes. It's like, man, you why do you bring that up? Because I can already see the comments being typed out in my head. I know what it's like. I've read so many of them. I know what's coming, if you know what I mean. It's not called being a psychic. It's just experience. Yeah, I know the rebuttals that are coming most of the time before they even come. Okay, let me see. Let's get back in here. A lot of good comments from you. Hope he doesn't replace him. Got a bunch of people in here having some fun. Let me see. Got a bunch of people in here having some fun. All right. Okay. I am going to get back to the comment section here. Hey, if you're joining me here today, I'm talking Clemson football, but I'm looking at my comment section. I'm looking at what people are placing in my comment section. Well, why doesn't he just commit to Ohio State? Talking about Ryan Day's son. Ryan Day to Clemson. Yeah, right. Nick Saban's going to come out of retirement to coach for Kentucky. Big 12 Knights obviously did not watch the video. You just tipped your hand. Pride, whatever this is 100% not going to happen. Again, probably didn't watch the video. KWFL Gators. Ryan Day isn't going anywhere. Stop the BS. Probably didn't watch the video. Jonathan Evans, Clemson wins by at least 10 points. At the 12:08 mark, you clearly disparaged the little people midgets. You know the short ones. Shame on you, little buddy. You caught me. That was funny. B.O. Wolf, I probably butchering that. Just show up and like what they did against Troy in the first half in Syracuse at all. He said, nervously laughing. At least they're showing up since then. Just not showing up as a team with talent and intelligence and good coaching. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Jay, this is the dumbest, most stone cold, stupid take of all time. Probably watched the video and just been waiting to make that comment about something. Should these Tigers find a way to lose this game, somebody's butt is in the grass. Nah, nothing will happen, and the Clemson faithful will be fine with it. Also, the excuses by this fan base are embarrassing. I read my own comment because I wanted you to hear that. And then T-Unit, those pumpers make me sick. Folks, I'm going to tell you this straight up. The edge in the Clemson community, and me and Eric actually talked about this in another part of the video I'm going to release. Two videos I've released was part of a long video that we did. I say long. It was over an hour long, I think. And it was on different subjects. But he said one of the reasons that Ohio State they have had the success that they've had is because their fan base demands excellence. And sometimes, yeah, it gets crazy. Yeah, people can get unrealistic, but the truth is their fan base demands excellence. So their number one goal is not just to get 10 wins. Their number one goal is to win a national championship and beat the guys up north, as they called Michigan. If you don't know, that's what Ohio State fans refer to Michigan as. That's it. Well, last year, they were ready to fire Ryan Day because of Michigan. And I believe wholeheartedly that say had Ohio State lost in the first round or maybe the second round, they didn't win a national championship, they probably would have fired Ryan Day. And he told me, he said, look, we demand from our coaches to win a national championship. That's it. We demand it. Well, here's the interesting fact. And he didn't bring this up, I'm bringing it up to you. Jim Tressel won a national championship. The next coach in line, Urban Meyer, won a national championship. The next guy in line, Ryan Day, he's won a national championship. So if you go to Ohio State, you need to know something. Their fan base demands championships. They know when you take that job, this is a high pressure job. And folks, listen to me. What I'm talking about here about Ohio State, this is not whether you like Ohio State or not. That's not the topic. The topic is their fan base actually expects their coach to win and win at a high level and to win a national championship. Clemson fans. Now, some of you sitting in here, some of my most faithful Clemson fans, I will go ahead and tell you right now, I'm not referencing you, but I will tell you that a lot of Clemson fans, they do not have that expectation of Clemson football, and they don't have that expectation of Clemson football anymore. Got a comment in here from Robert Attaway. Robert, thank you so much for the $5 donation. That was very, very kind of you. It's good to see you in here, and thanks for supporting the channel with the super chat. Just listening to Dabo, he sounds like he's doubling down. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know, Robert. I don't know. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let's get back into the comment section here. Pardon me. Let me see. I'll make a few changes. Sorry. All right, let's go back in here. All right. In the comment section, Clemson, LSU won't play each other in the first game. They will play a game in week 0 or week 1 before playing each other because of new QBS, according to Mickey Plyler on WCCP. Okay. Thanks, Marcus. I think what I was talking about with the Furman at Clemson prediction was I said that Clemson needs to play a bunch of players that will be playing for this team next year. And so I said that in the opening game against LSU, because from what I understood, that the first game of the year was going to be LSU. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. The players that will be playing for Clemson next year needs to be playing against Furman tomorrow, because that's the last chance they're going to get. They want those second string, third string players. Very few of them will see the field or limited time against South Carolina, if ever next week. I think that's going to be a very, very tough game. South Carolina, it's fun for us to laugh at them and how bad that they have done. They have lost to some really good teams. And I think it's going to be in Columbia. They're playing up for Clemson. Clemson can win the ball game. I can tell you that. But anyway, but that's what I was mentioning, that we need to get those players some playing time, because when they walk into Baton Rouge next year, I don't know who their head coach is going to be. You think this team is bad? If you think this team is bad, next year is going to be terrible unless you hire a bunch of you make the coaching changes that I've talked about, replacing them with the type of coaches that I said. Maybe have to go to the transfer portal and get some brilliant players to come in, maybe even someone at quarterback, and hope that they can make changes in the offseason to get guys tackling better coverage on the defense. On the offense, can you get someone to, get a really good blocking scheme together, have the players to actually do that? It's just a tall order going into LSU next year. And so that's why I referenced that game in the Furman game. We just need to not get anybody else hurt against Furman. We have to beat the Chickens. Losing is not an option. And I replied, you are one of the few. Most Clemson fans are totally okay with 5 losses. They are. Losses to South Carolina will be like, I hate it. But now Clemson fans are just so accustomed to losing to Georgia and being fine with it. We always have an excuse of why we lose to Georgia now. Always. And that should tell you the mindset. Going back to what Eric said about Ohio State fans. That's not a championship mindset. And to me, it's telling about the Clemson community. Go down here. This would all be really great. I don't expect it, but I can see it. I hope Dabo is watching this. Day would bring the recruiting back to life, and between him and Dabo, we're going to have some hyped up football teams. That would be fun. Clemson fans cannot stand whiny Day. He'd be as accepted at Clemson. James Franklin is at Penn State. I disagree with you. Totally disagree with you. Ryan Day just won a national championship in this college football landscape. And before we talk about how much money they spent on their team, there's a lot of teams that are spending a lot of money on their roster, and they still can't win. Texas, Florida, Southern Cal, Miami. So we can all pick at Ryan Day and about the dye in his beard. They used a Sharpie to color his beard. At the end of the day, guy has a national championship. And there's other guys out there that has the money, they have the donors, they have the teams, they have the roster, they have the NIL money. They're using the transfer portal ad nauseum. They can't win at the level they're supposed to. So it's fun to pick at Ryan Day, but it is what it is. John in here having fun with Cole Turner's comments. These comments from yesterday's video about Ryan Day, classic. People are nuts. Yep, they are nuts. Going on down. Yeah, and Putin is moving into the Vatican and becoming the Pope. Yes, Ruby Ridge. Dabo has a couple more seasons like this one. It might come true. Nah. Oh, another comment. Love these new channels with new fans chiming in. No one is calling for his head except for anonymous online users. Some of us pay for season tickets and don't go to games to trash our coach. Huh. That's interesting. That's interesting. See, this is what I'm telling you. These are some of the comments that you think they're kind of sprinkled throughout my comment section, because I've built my fan base with a lot of fans who they love their team, but they're not going to overlook what is undermining the team. Well, we had multiple 3-loss seasons. Now we had multiple 4-loss seasons. Now we're in a 5-loss season, and we're calling it out because we have that competitive edge, like some of the Ohio State fans do, and because we believe like Nick Saban did and still does. I mean, he said it this past week. I believe it was right after we talked about how Clemson played a bad game and still won. And he's pretty sure it was right after that. He said, yeah, it's really tough to coach your team after that, because you tell them, hey, we played bad, but they look at you and they say, but we won. Nick Saban said that's very dangerous. Well, Nick Saban has 7 national championships, so I'm going to side with him. And so, but this comment right here is very representative of a rather sizable group in the Clemson community. Would this happen if Michigan beat Ohio State again this year? Good question. I don't think so. Okay, if Clemson is favored in a game, it's highly possible for Clemson to lose with what Clemson has shown us this year. That's true. T-Unit thinks Day isn't any better than Dabo. He just has more money at his disposal. I think that's a very that's interesting. I'm not going to get my hopes up. Would probably pass out if it did. Hope for Billy Paul. Chase just literally threw up in my mouth reading the thumbnail. He called me. He said, please tell me this is not real. I said, no, it's not real. It's not real. Clickbait. John Etzer says the only way to get views these days. Let me tell you this: if I put up a video that said "We love Clemson," nobody would click on it. The Rock Boys guys is a Wake Forest guy. Yeah. Mike Roberts. Bad games are history. Got to look to the next game. Dabo does that well. Does well with that. Eric Blanton. Clemson will be fine. I'm optimistic and a realist. We had a below satisfying season, but to expect championship caliber play every year is unrealistic. We can disagree with philosophies, coaching hires, and other things, but at the end of the day, I'm giving Dabo the benefit of the doubt that he will right the ship. I refuse to criticize his every move. Go Tigers. Look, two different approaches, but here's the deal. Clemson should never lose 5 games. I agree with you. A championship is out of the question every year. Every year it's out of the question. Saban couldn't do it. Probably not going to see it, right? I think John Wooden did it for many years at UCLA, but I mean, that was like crazy. That's totally it. But losing 5 games, especially with this schedule, I'll have to disagree with you there. That this year was an utter failure. Losing three games in this regular season would have been I said in the preseason would be a catastrophic fail. Losing 5 is almost like a joke I would never believe. They lost 5 in the regular season. Could lose 6 if they lose to South Carolina. So I mean, but this is a different approach. It's a different approach. But I will say this. And I say this as civilly. We're just talking football. Football does not matter. Clemson will not be fine if they keep up with keep on the path that they're on. If they stay on the path that they're on, and these coaches are not, if the coaching room is not overhauled with experienced coaches who are experts in their field, this is going to be the norm. And right now, you're okay with it. You won't be okay with it. Now, 2 years ago was the time to fix it. 3 years ago was the time to fix it, because once the ship gets going in a certain direction, you can't change it. You can't change it. It takes forever to change. So you can't be a paranoid fan. I agree. But if you keep letting bad things happen and keep tolerating it, you mark my word, most people always realizes it's too late once it's too late. And it's just, I've been ringing the bell. But there we go. Well, there's a lot of really good comments in here. You should go check it out. You can see some really interesting stuff in here. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to tell you, I appreciate everyone hopping in here and checking out this video. So for anyone who's always like, oh, he's not optimistic or there's anything like this, I just read the comments today. That's all I did. Hope you will pass the channel along. You will pass along in the forums on Facebook and so on to the guys at work. And so, yeah, I do really appreciate it. Check out the other channel, another college football podcast. As I said, I just previewed Tennessee at Florida. I would not touch that game with a 10-foot pole. Wouldn't be shocked if Florida won it all. Pick Tennessee. Yeah, I just gave it away, but still go watch it. Previewed Missouri at Oklahoma. That's going to be a really interesting game. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Folks, y'all take care of yourself.